Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I, for one, am gutted at this news. Marcus Rashford is joining Aston Villa on a loan until the end of the season with an option for Villa to buy for £40 million. Villa will pay most of his wages, which is a move that Manchester United will be delighted with because they save a lot of money, and then they could even potentially bring in that £40 million transfer fee at the end of it. But I am absolutely gutted. I did not expect it to come to this. I did not expect to see Marcus Rashford playing for anyone other than Manchester United. A boy that we saw start his career at the club with a beautiful smile on his face, scoring goals in Europe, following that up with goals against Arsenal on his Premier League debut. You know, we've seen him lift 5 major trophies for the club. We've seen him score countless goals. I was even doing a countdown until he broke Wayne Rooney's record. That's how highly I thought of this boy. Now, I don't think he was ever as good as someone say, like Wayne Rooney. But Marcus Rashford, within his own right, was an absolutely fantastic player. And in the post-Fergie era, him and Bruno Fernandes have been the best players for Manchester United. Now, I think there's been a lot of mistakes by the club, by the player, that have seen us lead to this situation. I think it's a symptom of Manchester United's culture issues over the years as well, that we've allowed this to fester and get to this situation. And I think there'll be a lot of people that will have regrets about allowing it to get to this situation, including Marcus Rashford, who's a boyhood Manchester United fan, who's fought for this for all his life, and unfortunately has allowed it to slip through his fingers at the end. It's absolutely gutting, and it's weird as well that at this time we'll see a lot of Manchester United fans kind of celebrating seeing the back of Marcus Rashford. I don't think we can celebrate seeing the back of Marcus Rashford. I think it's absolutely gutting to see him leave, and gutted. The news today is that Fabrizio Romano has given it the here we go. Agreement in place on loan deal with over 70% of the salary covered. Buy option clause worth £40 million also included in the contract, with potential 3.5-year deal to follow. Laurie Whitwell agreeing with that as well, saying Marcus Rashford set for Aston Villa medical today with details of loan deal agreed. Buy option of £40 million included. MUFC to get 75% wage coverage with possibility of 90% depending on performances. Marcus Rashford's wages being around £300,000 and £350,000 per week. I'm not sure exactly, because obviously when Manchester United aren't playing in the Champions League, there's a 20 to 25% deduction on some of those wages. But his wages are still massive, and Manchester United will save millions in terms of getting him off the wage bill on a monthly basis. You bring in a loan fee as well, a potential, option of £40 million. Manchester United could clear around £50 to £60 million on this transfer. So it's not a bad deal for the club at all. And in terms of PSR, in terms of getting a player who hasn't been involved in the manager's squads off your wage bill, I think it's a very good move by the club, especially when you look at the fact that a lot of options for Marcus Rashford kind of dried up because, they couldn't bring on his wages, or they couldn't, get a transfer fee ready for him, or in the case of Barcelona, clear up space in their squad. And people saying a lot of those clubs' interest was PR and all this kind of stuff. I don't agree with that at all. These clubs would have been really, really interested in Marcus Rashford and would have wanted him there if they could have made a deal happen. The trouble for him is he is on pretty big wages at Manchester United whilst not performing at the moment. And in the last year, a year and a half, not really performed either. Although we say that, and you look at his goal and assist contributions, I don't think anyone has really got more than him in Manchester United's squad this campaign, despite the fact he hasn't really played from December. And that's Marcus Rashford having a bad season. But yeah, I am absolutely gutted by this news, and I'm absolutely gutted that it's eventually come to this. This is a player that's in the top 13 Manchester United record goal scorers. He was 12 goals away from entering the top 10 and matching Ruud van Nistelrooy's 150 for Manchester United. If he was on the ball and he was in the team, he probably could have done that this season. It was someone that I was kind of counting down, going, right, we got this many more goals to go until he breaks Wayne Rooney's record. Absolutely got it. He said his goodbyes to teammates and staff at Carrington as he prepared for the loan move yesterday. And this was with a backdrop of the likes of Patrick Dorgu completing a move to Manchester United and completing his medical at the club, signing his contract as a Manchester United player, and also talk about Matis Tel as well, and whether Manchester United can bring him into the club. Now we've freed up some of this wage bill and freed up some of the money that Marcus Rashford would allow us to do. But Marcus Rashford joined Manchester United as a boy. We've seen those Google Maps images of him, waiting for the bus on Button Lane, in his local area, close to Old Trafford. This journey would have meant a lot to him, and we saw some of those tears at the end of the FA Cup final when Manchester United beat Manchester City. And I think a lot of those tears were, if rumoured to be correct, were based off the fact he thought that was his last game. So he's always felt like he was on the way out at Manchester United. He gave that interview with Henry Winter, which is ill-advised, I think. If he doesn't give that interview, maybe the manager's more inclined to give him an opportunity in the squad if he doesn't say my future lies elsewhere. But that also came after there were reports and briefings by Manchester United that he was up for sale. Now, Marcus Rashford has made a lot of mistakes in that as well. How has it got to this? How have we seen this player come through, absolutely tear it up, did some great things off the pitch as well. I think he's a fantastic human, but he has made mistakes. And, you think of that night out in Belfast, you think of, he scored 2 against Everton for Ruben Amorim. And the talk around that was that he had gone on an unsanctioned night out not long before that. What has happened here? It just feels like a little bit of self-sabotage on behalf of Marcus Rashford. Maybe he felt like a scapegoat at the club. There were times when I remember him playing through, this sounds mental to say, but playing through a broken back, like a fracture in his back for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the club. Absolutely grafting his balls off, playing through that injury. And he was still getting ripped by some. And we just look at some of the stats that he's had at Manchester United. 2 times player of the year, 2 times top scorer, 7 goals behind Cristiano Ronaldo at United, ahead of Solskjaer and Andy Cole, couple of bona fide Manchester United legends. A Europa League, 2 FA Cups and 2 League Cups. And that's the problem. A player of Marcus Rashford's quality should be winning leagues at Manchester United. And that's not just his fault, by the way. You can blame the whole club and the whole institution for Manchester United not winning the league since Sir Alex Ferguson left. But I've seen some people say, he would never have made it in a Ferguson. You see some of the players Sir Alex Ferguson got to win league titles. Marcus Rashford would have been well at home in one of those teams. And you kind of feel like he missed the guidance of someone like a Sir Alex Ferguson. Leading the club, making sure no one was led astray, making sure everyone kept in line, ruling with that iron fist. I think he would have benefited massively from that. And as I said, the player has to take some personal responsibility as well. He has to. And I'm sure he'll look back, and if he's honest with himself, say he made some mistakes which led him to leave in Manchester United. But one of the things I will say is, I hope he goes on. I hope he does well. Champions League football for him. Aston Villa are a club moving in the right... Villa right now got a better team than us if we're being real about it. Moving in the right direction. Unai Emery's in charge as well. But also, with a gaffer like Unai Emery, you're going to have to put the hard yards in. You're going to have to graft. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to play well to keep your spot in that team. And if you want them, to take up that option of keeping you at the club on a long-term basis, you're going to have to perform for him. And I hope he does. Genuinely, I wish no ill will towards Marcus Rashford. I want him to do nothing but good. And maybe it's the fresh start that both Manchester United and he needed. But both the club and the player have definitely made some mistakes along the way, which has seen this dream end in a nightmare fashion. We never even got to see and say goodbye to him at Old Trafford. Something that I think that he deserved as well. I mean, you deserve what you get. But it would have been nice to be able to say goodbye to Marcus Rashford at Manchester United, at the club. I'm so gutted, man. I never ever thought it would come to this. See Marcus Rashford leave and Marcus Rashford play for someone else, especially in the Premier League. Gutted, man. Absolutely gutted. What are you lot thinking in the comments? Anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe. Marcus Rashford, is joining Aston Villa. See you later. I'm AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.